Hello everybody and welcome to Intro to JavaScript. Yeah, you could just, find your own tutorial, but you're gonna stick with mine for right now because I'm gonna give it to you sweet and simple. So let's get started. Let's jump right in. Let's go to codesandbox.io. So click on your code sandbox when it pops up in your search. Here, let's just get started coding in some JavaScript. It's just that simple. Whatever device you have, you can do this from your phone, you can do this from your desktop computer, your laptop, whatever gives you access to the internet. Let's use it. Let's get started. All right, click on New from Template, or even better yet, before we even start all of that, if you don't have an account, just go ahead and start an account. Create an account, it's free. Yes, you go ahead and start with a GitHub account. Sign in with GitHub, and if you don't have a GitHub account, go ahead and quickly just go to github.com and create one. I already have mine here, so it kind of just popped up. But yeah, do that first and then come back to this step, Code Sandbox. Registered your account on Code Sandbox, go ahead, log in, and then the first thing you can click on is recent. You should see this option here to the left, and we're going to start from scratch. We're going to code in JavaScript right now, right this very second. So click on New from a Template, and then we're going to be clicking on the option that says Node.js. And if you don't see that immediately, up in the search bar, you can simply type Node, and you should see Node.js Code Sandbox up here. So click on that option, and it's going to build our environment for us. So we don't have to install all those many or several applications that we need on our machine, our device, our computer, in order to start coding in JavaScript. Get into the nitty-gritty. If you're one of those who like to dig into the weeds of things, you can go ahead and read some project documentations here under resources, and ask questions and snoop around on Discord, which is a space for you to learn about Code Sandbox in the Code Sandbox Discord. Right now, don't worry about configurations. We're going to keep it simple. We'll talk about this and we'll get into the weeds later, but I don't want to bog you down. I don't want to slow you down. I want you to get typing. I want you to get familiar with writing code. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is come to the left, and we're going to click on our file. Notice that in our project right here, we have several different files with different extensions. The extension comes after the dot. That tells you what type of file it is. And this should be familiar to you if you've ever used anything on a cell phone, any file on a cell phone or a computer or some similar device. They have different file names like .dlc, .doc. If you've ever used Word, Microsoft Word or Microsoft Office, you've seen the .doc extension. And that's just basically a certain type of file that needs a certain type of program to run that file and to use that file. So that's why we have this Node project set up, so that we can run JavaScript files. And that's the first thing we're going to open up here is our index.js. We'll come to these other file types later on, but right now we're just going to dive right in. All right, so now once we have our JavaScript index.js file open, first thing you're going to see is a line of code. Boom, JavaScript right in front of you before you even type anything. We didn't ask for this, even though we appreciate the welcome Code Sandbox. We're going to delete this code. All right, so get rid of that. We want to start from scratch. We are coders aspiring to be developers for whatever reason. And in order to do that, we need some tools. Developers, coders, we build things, and you can only build when you got some tools. And I'm going to introduce you to some very simple fundamental tools that you will be using in your journey to learning how to code in JavaScript with Node.js. So up here in the top right corner area, you're going to see an icon here. And when you hover over it, it says Add Dev Tools. Click on that. We're going to need these tools. And then it has some options. We're going to hover over terminals, and we're going to click New Terminal. Most of you will probably see two windows. You will see one labeled Terminal and another below that says Start or maybe Default. I'm not sure, but you should see something similar to this. Yours might be inverted. The start might be at the top and then the terminal might be at the bottom. I'm going to put the terminal at the top because that's what I'm going to be referencing mostly. This is not so much important right now, even though it has a lot of stuff going on. It might look like it's super important, but it's not for what we're going to do right now. You can leave it up, or you can move it out the way. And I think for the purposes of this lesson, I'm going to close this and move it out the way. I don't want to bog down with too many moving parts. So we're going to focus with our most fundamental tool right now, which is the terminal. Okay. Our terminal open. Let's go here to the left side. The largest window that we see is going to be our code editor. And that's where you're going to go and type your actual code in JavaScript. So let's get started. Follow me with your / however many you want to put down. I put down a whole bunch. You need to put down at least two. You need at least two. And the reason is because the computer will ignore anything that we type. It won't see it as instructions that it has to follow. So we can make notes and stuff, and we won't have to worry about the computer getting confused or not understanding our instructions. So you need at least two of these / for the computer to ignore the following comments or notes that you're going to write. Now I'm simply going to type welcome to intro to JavaScript. And that also cues me to make another change. Since we're in Code Sandbox, let's change the title of our project that we're working on and give it a meaningful title. And I'm going to click on it 2 times, and I'm going to change it to Intro to JavaScript, or Intro to JS for short. All right. Oops, it didn't take. Try it again. There we go. For some reason. All right, I had to press enter. And my terminal went away. So remember, you can just come over here to this icon at the top right and click Add Developer Tools. And I'm going to just click New Terminal, and there we go. Of our tools, terminal. The terminal is just a way for you to interact with your computer and the programs and files that are located somewhere in your computer. It's basically like you're using a mouse, but without a mouse. Instead of using a mouse to point and click on stuff to open and interact, you just come to the command line and you type stuff. You type your commands here. And so command goes here. And with that specific command, it tells your computer what to do. Maybe open Spotify, or maybe go to a website or something like that. Just like you would do if you were going to use your mouse and keyboard. But in the command line, you just use commands. So the terminal or the command line interface, pretty much interchangeable. It lets you do stuff on your computer. Before, to the left, we've got our code editor. So let's write some code. We're going to start with this JavaScript statement, console.log. And these statements have to be spelled correctly so that the computer can recognize what you want to do. So we're typing some real JavaScript, and that's why we don't have the 2 /, because if you can see after the 2 /, this becomes grayed out. The computer won't see these instructions. So we want to just start with our command with no /, and then behind the next phrase here, log, console.log, we have 2 parentheses. And you're going to see these parentheses a lot. That you're usually going to use this when you want the computer to do something. And one caveat, the semicolon with JavaScript tends to be arbitrary. There are some specific cases in which you absolutely have to use semicolons, but for all intents and purposes, don't worry about it. I tend to do it because you never know when you're going to need it, so I like to create the habit of doing it. But you'll see me leave off semicolons. It basically just tells the computer, I'm done with this set of instructions, go to the next. It's like a period almost. All right, so now the parentheses is where you put stuff to be used, data to be used in your instructions. So I'm just going to put some data. I'm going to put some text or string. Hey, comma, look at me, exclamation point, I'm coding. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We've written a line of JavaScript. Now we're going to come to our terminal and we're going to use a special command so that our computer will run this set of instructions. So that command, since we're using node.js, the program that allows us to use JavaScript, we're going to use the command keyword node. And what do we want to do? We want to execute the instructions in this JavaScript file. And so we've got to tell it, what's the name of the JavaScript file? Well, it is index.js. That's the name of our JavaScript file. So now the computer knows to do stuff to this file and then follow these instructions. And we only have one set of instructions here. So after we've written the command, press enter, and the computer will execute the command. Hey, look at me, I'm coding. And if you notice in the terminal, you don't see the full instruction as it was written in the editor with the JavaScript. You just get the result. And so what we told our computer to do was in our console or our terminal. A lot of times you'll hear terminal, a lot of times you'll hear console. It's a same concept, pretty much the same thing. We told our computer to display this data in the form of text in our console or our terminal. And it's exactly what it did. It followed those instructions, our JavaScript instructions. Here on my channel, we keep it simple. We keep it short. It's already past 10 minutes. I'm not going to keep you too long for such a basic intro. So play around with this console.log. Now you have a place to go and code and fool around with some JavaScript using your first command that you've learned, console.log. And let's create a word wall. What's our word wall? So what's the key vocabulary that we've learned today? So I'm going to put JS word wall because, I'm not the most creative, but, it gets to the point. My typing skills. All right, so let's see. And I'll talk about this little thing that I've just done later, but that's just another way for you to make comments that are ignored by the computer. And our first important vocabulary word of this series is going to be node.js. And we also talked about the terminal. And so node.js is our application that allows us to run JavaScript files. The terminal is a program that allows us to operate our computer. And then JavaScript is a programming language that allows us to build things using code written in JavaScript. All right, that's it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been 15 minutes. Go ahead and do something else. Go ahead and play with console.log and console.log. I'll see you next time. Let's run it. Our command in the terminal is node. And we're still in that same file, but we made some changes. So let's see the update. I'll see you next time. Peace out. Happy coding.